once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. Did you catch me in mid recitation?
I think you do that on purpose. So yes, we got you mid resuscitation,
Mid declamation.
something like the defecation. Something. It was one of those things.
It was something like that.
It was.
How are you this evening, Mr. Real?
I'm doing great, RFM. Here we are again, Mormonism After Dark. So welcome, folks.
This is the last Mormonism After Dark before Christmas.
This is.
I could make a poem about this. It'd be called "'Twas the Mormonism After Dark Before Christmas."
It would be called that.
And all through the house, and it goes on from there.
Cheers, my friend. I better put it in front of the camera there.
Hello.
This is Porter Huckleberry. Delicious flavor. Great.
Who's Huckleberry?
Porter Rockwell's
Porter
beverage. Yeah.
I see. Porter.
Yeah. Folks, we're so glad you guys are here. Mormonism After Dark. What a fun time. Great Friday. It is 12/19/2025.
Mm-hmm.
And RFM, I love the red scarf. That is nice and festive for the Christmas season.
Well, thank you. I didn't have a chance to put on a bow tie because I was so busy doing investigative journalism up to the 9th hour or the 8th hour, however you say it, up until the last second.
Yeah.
I hope you can deal with this. I have gone without a tie before. Sometimes I like to look like Robert Goulet later in his act when he takes off the bow tie and just lets the open collar go.
At least it's not Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak, famous actor, famous lookalike. Looks like a lot of people, including one professor from BYU.
Yes, which we'll get to here shortly.
Yeah.
Folks, that'll make up the second half of tonight's show. We've got a lot for you. Down in the show notes here in YouTube, there is the link to join us. If you'll wait till after sort of the first segment, we'll break it up with a little bit of some stuff going on, and then we'll get to some Christopher Blythe things, which I think are going to make everybody chuckle and giggle a little bit.
Well, this first segment is going to be sort of a trivia quiz thing, isn't it, for the audience?
Yeah, there will be some trivia in it, and let me see if I can't. Man, that's not letting me change the slide, so I'm going to just put this one up.
It's not letting you change the slides.
No. What I'm saying is that it will not let me turn the slides to the next one. So I'll just use the one here on my second monitor. So, folks, I put a Facebook post out. I'll read this really quick because this got a lot of traction. And I know why it did. It resonated with folks. And I think it'll be quite obvious why that happened. But Lyman Johnson said the following, and this happened from Wednesday night's Mormonism Live. We were going into David Whitmer as a Book of Mormon witness, sharing a biography of sorts of him. And one of the moments is where he and Cowdery are excommunicated, and Lyman Johnson is also excommunicated at that time. And so Lyman Johnson said the following about his time out of the church. According to Brigham Young says this is the kind of thing that leaders and believers say about those who have stepped away from the church. To what degree this is true or not, who knows? This is what Brigham Young said. He said that Lyman Johnson said, and again, Lyman is Luke Johnson's brother. He is the child of Elsa Johnson and John Johnson, who owned the John Johnson farm that Joseph Smith and Emma stayed at for a while. It's where the tar and feathering took place.
It's where Section 76 was received,
yeah.
I believe.
A lot of things in church history occurred.
The Melchizedek priesthood was restored.
Yeah. So Brigham Young says that Lyman Johnson said, "I would suffer my right hand to be cut off if I could believe it again. Then I was full of joy and gladness. My dreams were pleasant. When I awoke in the morning, my spirit was cheerful. I was happy by day and by night, full of peace and joy and thanksgiving. But now it's darkness, pain, sorrow, misery in the extreme. I have never since seen a happy moment." And I'm sure that you've run into this before, but believers take a person expressing this, and I even put it here. The believers sometimes see the experience of someone who is left, who experiences pain, sadness, hurt, as evidence that the gospel is true, and it's the gospel that makes people happy. I don't doubt Johnson's experience or many of those who leave who wish that Mormonism could once again be true for them. I just think the explanation often given misses the deeper human psychology at work. When you naively believe something that tells you that you are chosen, that you possess ultimate truth, that your life has cosmic meaning, and that you belong to a tight-knit community moving history forward. Happiness is a very natural byproduct. That's true in Mormonism. It's also true in countless other movements, ideologies, and high control groups across history. Meaning feels good. Certainty feels good. Belonging feels good. This is true for so many of the followers of so many false religions, maybe even more so in high demand religions. But belief systems don't get evaluated only by how good they feel at first. Eventually, the costs show up, harm accumulates, cognitive dissonance grows, integrity demands honesty, and for many, the price of staying becomes higher than the price of leaving. On the other side of that break, of course, there's pain. When someone leaves, they don't just lose beliefs, they lose identity, certainty, community, shared language, sometimes family, and often their entire map of reality. That kind of loss should hurt. That doesn't mean leaving was wrong. It means deconstruction is real grief. For heaven's sake, it's why they call it the dark night of the soul. What often gets labeled as the misery of leaving the gospel looks a lot like the very human experience of rebuilding life after realizing the story you built everything on wasn't true. That darkness is not evidence of error. It is evidence of courage and transition. Happiness built on illusion can feel wonderful. I think Elder Uchtdorf said that. The gospel is wonderful. Rebuilding meaning, though, after truth cost you everything, and it feels awful for a while. But only one of those paths leads to a life grounded in honesty, agency, and self-trust. And for many of us, the peace that comes after the dark night is quieter, sturdier, and far more real than the joy we were promised before. By the way, there's a real big difference between wishing it could be true again and believing it actually could be true. In other words, when it comes to Lyman Johnson, one could wish it could be true while also knowing it isn't and never was. And I'll just say, RFM, I've heard so many times in the church where people take the sadness, hurt, anger, misery, any of those negative emotions, and believers label that as that's what happens when you lose your faith and you fall away from the true church. When in reality, not only is falling away from your community and everything you built your identity in hard enough on its own, but Mormonism also ties itself into your family, your friendships, your identity with cancerous knots that make it that much more difficult than, saying, being kicked out of the Rotary Club. I put this out there because I wanted people to sense, on the believing side, that you tell yourself these stories about what it means for people who leave, when in reality, they might be doing the hardest thing they've ever done, and it might be justified to feel some things as they're doing it.
Yeah, if you could choose to believe, as we're being told more and more frequently, though less and less rationally, if we could choose what we believe, then why would not this fellow Lyman have chosen to go back, since that's where all the happiness was, if this quote is correct? And I could see somebody in his position saying something like this. He's a young guy. I used to be a young guy. My entire life was plotted out per the dictates of the LDS Church for me. And I would be an active priesthood holder. I would do what I was asked to do. I would try and do it well. I'd be a full tithe payer. I would attend all my meetings. I'd have the prayers at home morning and night. You know how it goes. And when I get older, I'm going to retire. I'm going to go on missions with my wife because, you know, she never got to go on a mission, and we'll go on at least one mission, maybe more. And maybe if I'm good enough, I'll get to be a mission president. And this is how the life goes. Everything is planned out for you, including for your children, which is baptism, confirmation, priesthood, if a boy, the whole 9 yards, and grandchildren. And they all follow this exact same pattern, which is the one that the church has laid down. And then not only till death do you part this frail existence and lay this mortal by, but into the eternities. Everything is planned for you from now till forever. And so when you find out that you've been taken, and taken good, First off, it's very difficult to realize it. You don't want that to be true. You want this to be true. And so it took me a long, long time. I'm very stubborn. And eventually reality intrudes and you realize that you have now been uprooted from the foundation of your cosmic worldview or cosmic view. And that is painful. It's worse than just getting taken in some kind of business transaction. Some guy gets the best of you in a business transaction or takes you in completely. Well, that's some guy you didn't know, but you know how it feels. It feels bad, and it feels bad for a long time. Imagine trusting this guy with your eternal salvation and that of your family, and then you find out he's a shyster.
It's
and
like
you've done that for years. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, it's like being betrayed by your best friend. It's like the church, for the people who took Mormonism seriously, Mormonism was their best friend in some way. Like it showed up delivering blessings and giving you the Spirit and all these things that the church had sort of named and labeled and created narratives around, and you believed it with all your heart. When I went onto Wikipedia, so again, there was the slide in the slideshow from Wednesday that talked about the excommunication of Lyman Johnson along with Whitmer and Cowdery. So I went into Wikipedia as I was preparing for that episode. And in the Wikipedia page, it had that quote from Brigham Young where he says that Lyman Johnson said this. As you point out, there was nothing stopping Lyman from going back to church. He didn't go back because he didn't believe it. It's not that he hoped he could figure out how to make it true again. It's not true. It's just his life was better when he was in it and believing it. So I saw the quote from Brigham Young, and immediately, as soon as I saw it, I knew what believers, how they see that quote, and how people who have left understood, like he's just describing the dark night of the soul. And so immediately what I thought would be really cool is I went and found that picture of Lyman Johnson. I'll actually put it back up here. The picture on the left, Lyman Johnson, I thought, I wonder if AI could make him more real for me as I was going to put this post out. And it did. It did a beautiful job. I mean, I think it takes a black and white photo that means nothing, and it humanizes Lyman Johnson to where you can look at that guy in the face and go, he's not that old, but that guy's experienced some shit, and he's been hurt by some things. He's been disappointed. And it set me down the rabbit hole. I started doing that with a bunch of these images, and I'll put a bunch more up here, but just to show folks. Joseph Smith, I took the image this newest image we had, and I asked it to make a full body picture of the guy. I will say, Rebecca noted this on the left, that image of Joseph Smith. Rebecca's the one who said this. But, we have all these beautiful images of Joseph, blonde hair, and, the smiling guy. This image, though, when you look at that guy's got a wry smile that's sort of hidden there. There's a part of him that's looking right at you, but there's a smile underneath all of that. And Rebecca, when she saw that picture, she goes, "Oh, there you are. I see you." And anyway,
when you do another one, would you put the picture on the right, the revised version of Joseph Smith, next to a picture of Jeffrey Epstein? Because I think there's a similarity.
There is, by the way. And so I don't know if there's any science behind personality types and certain body types or facial structure. I don't know.
Phrenology.
Yes, Brigham Young once did that to prove to the world, I think, how smart he was to get his head and facial features measured. But he does have a little bit of a likeness to him. I will say that. Here's Hiram Smith. And there really isn't any good images of Hiram, and you can't really take the death mask and do it because he had his face blown open. But this is a sketch.
Yeah, by John Taylor.
Yeah, by somebody on the inside, huh?
Yeah.
And Willard Richards, which we'll get to here shortly.
You can't trust the Canadian.
Yeah.
Those knuckleheads.
So I will just note, by the way, I solved our mystery. The person who came down below in our show on Wednesday.
Yes.
I had given them the link. I knew who this person was by a different name, and they were supposed to come on the show and promote the Brodies. And they showed up. I didn't really know what they looked like.
This is really embarrassing for you, isn't it?
All I had was a first name, and he shows up with a different name.
Okay, I gotta tell everybody what happened. Okay, we could replay it. This would make it just so sweet.
Yeah,
I just love it when you get humiliated by doing something dumb because it gives me a break.
good. Well, I
Because
do.
that's what I'm usually doing.
Yeah.
Okay, just delighted it's not me. So anyway, we are doing the show on Wednesday, and of course, Wednesday is not Friday. Friday, you can come in and we'll talk to you. But we had an individual show up very, very early, and it was Chino Blanco. At least that was the name in front of the guy. We can see the box down below. The audience can't see him. We can also see when a notification pops up that so-and-so has entered the studio. And he's down there, and we can't hear him, but we can see him. And Bill says, we'll get back to you. And I'm sitting there, oh, it's Chino Blanco. Please let him on, Bill. And Bill's going, no, we're not going to have him on. Not until the end of the show. And I said, but it's Chino Blanco.
I know, but Mormonism Live has rules.
And Bill is a man of rules. Yeah, we found that out about your character on Wednesday night, and so did Chino Blanco. So anyway, he goes away, and I'm talking to the camera, please call back in an hour. Chino, please. And he didn't. And so at the end of the show, we make this huge deal. And actually, it was kind of instructive.
It was.
About comparing our experience with Chino, the two of us seeing him. We just talked about David Whitmer as a witness. David Whitmer. I think it's the last of the witnesses that we're covering of the three, and that, what he said he saw and blah, blah, blah. And we're talking about what we said we saw, but the audience didn't see it. And you got to take our word for it and believe that he was all this kind of stuff. But now, after all of that, actually, when we left, you said you were going to try and get a hold of him and see what the heck was that. Oh, I'm so sorry. The most important part is we were saying, how did he show up here? Because we didn't put up a link to the show before the end of it. So all of a sudden, this guy, Chino Blanco, shows up. How did he do that? He had no link to it. And we're talking about the mystery of this. And now Bill has solved the mystery. And the mystery just appears to be onset of dementia or something. What is it, Bill?
So I've been in contact with Carol and folks that work with her on the Brody Awards. This person is, I'll say the board of directors essentially, but I don't know what it is, but it's the group of people that help Carol out. And I know him by his first name because that's how I've communicated with him in email.
And you mean Chino?
Yeah, and about a week ago, I had committed.
Is his first name Chino or something else?
No, his first name is something else. And because he came under the name Chino, I don't know if I'm safe to give his real name. So I'm going to leave it.
Okay, don't.
But about a week earlier, I created this David Whitmer stream, and he was going to come on and promote the Brody. So I gave him the link, and I said, when you come on, I'll bring you on the show. Well, when he showed up, he didn't come on under the name that him and I had been talking back and forth. He came on under the other name. And I don't know who this person is other than their name. So I'm like, oh, I know who Chino Blanco is. That's a guy who inputs into good conversations around Mormon history all the time. I'm sure.
He's not a guy I gave a link to.
Yeah. No, but not a guy I gave the link to. So
I think you were actually quite adamant that you gave a link to no one. Isn't that what you said on Wednesday?
It was, but also instructive, which is once you get to the bottom of things, it's almost always a rational, reasonable answer of how things came to be.
Boy, that was well played, Bill.
Yeah. So
and it's true. It is true. It was a total mystery on Wednesday night. We had the temptation to fill in the gap with something supernatural or divine on the part of Chino Blanco. And yet, upon further examination, we find out the real answer, and it's just natural stuff.
Just ordinary. The God of Gaps has no more gap. It's all explained. So I will just mention the 2025 Brody Awards. The nominations are underway, and I will put those links in the show notes. If you're watching this, please do go nominate for the various categories. You can even submit your own category if you don't think your thing, the project that you've watched and seen unfold and been excited about, you can reach out and nominate that category just to even if it's not on there. So folks, please do consider doing that. The Brody Awards, the nominations are happening. The voting will occur here in a few weeks. And then I think sometime in January, RFM and I will be hosting the 2025 Brody Awards. So
that's going to be so much fun. And by the way, that's why I'm trying to be kind of scrupulous. I think that Bill is too, even though we haven't talked about it. We're trying to be scrupulous and not promoting our own stuff for you to nominate or vote for.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to say that. So
not even that. That's how scrupulous Bill is.
I figure since we're having such a platform to promote the Brody Awards themselves,
Yes.
the rest of it'll take care of itself, and anything more we do would be unfair. So
We got to play it clean.
yeah, so there's that. So let me put this back up. We'll jump back into these other ones now. All right, so RFM, I don't want you to say who this is.
Okay.
I want to give maybe 10 seconds. And people, when you see a face show up on the screen, you've got 10 seconds to put into the chat who this person is.
And these faces are something that AI modernized from an older photograph.
Some of them are basically the photograph, modern, but more of a colorized and given more dimension. Some of them are completely different than the photograph, and you'll see that over the course. So people are saying Willard Richards, Wilford Brimley, Henry McNeckbeard. No.
Isn't that William Clayton?
This is William Clayton. And so there's the sketch or photograph of him. And that's what AI did. So that's William Clayton.
This is the guy who completely rewrote all of his journals after they got out to Utah and inserted all that polygamy shit in there.
Yeah, you can't trust the guy with a neck beard. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. How about this guy?
Oh, I know him.
We'll give 10 seconds or so for folks.
I like, though, the way this makes this person and all these people so much more lifelike. I'm not sure it makes him look any more likable.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like the shopkeeper on Little House on the Prairie.
All right. So this, who is that, RFM?
I think it's Heber C.
Yeah, it should be Heber C. Kimball. So there's Heber C. Kimball. How about this guy?
I think that's Benedict Cumberbatch.
It is not.
Is it? Am I supposed to say it? Am I supposed to say what I think it is?
Oh, give about 10 seconds or so.
I'll give it 10 seconds. It would be a guess, but it might start with I don't know, T and M.
No. Somebody's saying Martin Harris, Satan, Ed Kemper. No, that's not it. This is Orson Pratt, by the way. And
what?
Yeah, this is Orson Pratt.
Oh.
And he looks so much different than his brother, because I think when people see Parley, they immediately know that's Parley Pratt. But this is Orson Pratt. And so there's the image of
I only know him from his young dandy picture or his old beard of the year picture.
Gotcha.
But that's Orson Pratt. Yeah, he got the looks in the family.
He did.
Everybody made fun of Parley at school, calling him caveman.
We'll see Parley later.
There goes caveman Parley.
I know you know who this one is too.
I think it's me with a walking stick.
It's close. I think we got a second picture of this guy too. The future wasn't good to him. Yeah.
He kind of looks like a dandy too.
Yeah. So Willard Richards, you got it. And there he is. There's the picture of Willard Richards.
Cheryl Bruno in the house says Willard Richards.
Good
15
job.
points for Gryffindor.
Good job, Cheryl. And I think you'll be interested in that Christopher Blythe conversation that happens later too, Cheryl. So there's that.
Small possibility.
By the way, this is also Willard Richards. This is a little later in life. There's Willard Richards as well. So I wasn't going to have any guessing on that one just because it's the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other pictures. Look at him on the left there.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's almost becoming fully circular.
He looks unique. He's got his feet are sort of spread apart wide. Looks a little buckled at the knees.
Mm.
Good old Willard Richards. So
These were the best clothes he had.
Aha. Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. What do you think, folks? Who is that? Somebody's saying George Albert Smith. No.
I think this is a little bit of rock talk here.
RFM, who's this one? Yep, somebody said it here. Cheryl said it.
I think that's PPP.
Yeah, Parley.
They made fun of him at school for that too. His initials. What were his parents thinking? Not just PP, but PPP.
PPP. There is Parley Pratt. So there's that image.
Well, he cuts a fine figure, I must say.
Yeah.
A spiritual wife behind each epaulette.
This one, there were about, as I went through historical photos of people, I think I could easily name 95% of them, but there's a handful of people I couldn't. This one I knew. but I'll, the Orson Pratt one, I didn't know that. I did not have any guess of that. All the other ones I would have gotten so far, you would have gotten so far.
Except for Orson, this looks like John C.
It is John C. Bennett. So there's that. And by the way, folks are guessing that in the chat. So Gaslam and TOG Sakafai Bennett and Wally Lama Bennett. How about this guy, RFM? I wouldn't have known this one.
Is that TMI? That one's TMI.
Well, I don't know about the eye, but yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to not make it too easy for people watching, if they're going to guess.
Yeah.
I think that's Nick Nolte.
It does look like Nick Nolte. Somebody did guess Nick Nolte.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to tell everybody something. Can I just tell you this? I may have said it before. Nick Nolte, DG, of course. Mediocre minds think alike, right, DG?
Yeah, somebody got it. Lopsided. You got it too, by the way, RFM.
Yeah.
Marsh.
He was the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, wasn't he?
This is the guy who left over the milk and strippings that, it's what everyone in the church who leaves, they leave over petty reasons, those silly apostates. And Thomas Marsh, his wife had an argument with Lucinda Harris, plural wife of Joseph Smith, of which was not public yet, took their case before the church. Strangely, Joseph Smith and company sided with Joseph Smith's plural wife, Lucinda Harris, and Thomas Marsh, bitter over his wife losing a tiny spat over some milk and strippings, gave up his position as president of the Quorum of the 12 and left the church. You silly, silly apostates.
Which is a possibility. And some people think that she was a wife of Joseph and other people don't. But it makes this whole incident very interesting. If indeed she were Joseph's plural wife. I was also going to say that I believe Thomas Marsh was a little bit older than Brigham Young. And when he left, Brigham Young ascended to the presidency of the Quorum of the 12. Little known fact, though, is that John Taylor was actually the one behind the whole milk strippings incident in order to get rid of Thomas Marsh so that Brigham Young could become president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Little known fact.
Okay.
And he continued his work at Carthage.
There you go. The master plan.
If I had to put a sharp point on it, there it is.
Master plans always start with small baby steps.
Yes.
How about this guy, RFM?
He looks a bit dissolute.
Do you know who that is?
I think so.
Okay, I'll wait a few seconds. I don't think you do, because I would definitely not have known this one. And if you know,
maybe I don't then. He's not dissolute. He doesn't drink a lot.
No. I don't know. If you're thinking of Joseph Smith Sr., that would be an incorrect guess.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. This is a difficult one. But this is also another person who left over petty reasons.
Oh, no. Is it a guy whose name is spelled the same all the time?
This is Simon's Ryder.
Oh, my goodness. There he is. Well, he has a rather doubting look in his eye, skeptical.
Yeah. So Simon's Ryder. There he is.
He could have been somebody.
Everybody knows this guy. Don't cut that hair off. He'll live forever if you don't.
That's John McCraney, isn't it?
It's Sean McCraney.
Yeah, I knew that. Everybody does know him.
Oh,
I'm not going to make it to the Christmas show this year or last year, and I'm sorry about that because I like him, and I think everybody else likes him too.
I like him too. This is Robert Boylan if he didn't go in for a haircut every once in a while. Now, he only goes every once in a while, but if he didn't go every once in a while, this is what it would look like.
It looks like Boylan's demeanor. Oh, my goodness.
Or in Porter.
I don't know. There's just something about that one on the left that captures something the one on the right doesn't.
Yeah. You'll see
homicidal mania.
Yeah. You'll see that again. You'll see that again with old crazy eyes. Do you know who that is? He's more of a ship man than a wagon man.
Is it Dan Jones?
No. This is good old Samuel Brannan.
Oh, I would not have had a clue about Samuel Brannan, but there he is. Bravo.
So Samuel Brannan.
Samuel Brannan. He's the guy who was in charge of the ship that went from New York and down all the way down to South America, right? Because there was no Panama Canal at the time, was there?
He had to go all the way around.
Teddy Roosevelt's time, I think.
Goes to California, collects the tithing from the members because he's the leader of the church there.
Right.
never sends the money back to Brigham,
No
and
way.
strangely enough, becomes San Francisco's first millionaire.
I just sailed halfway around the world, for crying out loud. I think I'm owed something.
So there's that. By the way, bonus points, because I don't know it off the top of my head, but if I see it, I will know it. Folks, what was the name of the ship that Samuel Brannan was the lead of the party going to San Francisco? So
It wasn't the Demeter, was it?
it was not the Demeter. Okay, maybe you're giving a clue there, but Brooklyn. Brooklyn, you're right.
I think that's funny. I'm sorry.
Cheryl got it right. The Brooklyn, we all know that.
The Brooklyn.
That one's Oliver Cowdery. Everyone who doesn't know that, you need to sign off, leave the show, go take a nap. But that's Oliver Cowdery.
He even has like one of those, I don't know, those special phones like Uhura had on the bridge sticking in his ear. Can you see that in the back one? You go back one, like there.
Yeah.
See, he's got one of those.
Got that little puff, and he's got it
Looks
in the
like he's
photo.
hailing all frequencies, Captain.
Yeah. Look at that. Got to comb that thing down in the morning, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You should know who this one is too.
I think so. I think that his voice, I think the angel that appeared to the three witnesses sounded a little bit like Sidney Rigdon.
Yeah, Sidney Rigdon, folks.
Wow. Look at this guy. He could have started a successful pancake company, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I think he could have. Look at that face on a label of pancake mix. Wouldn't you want to buy it?
Yeah, I would.
Uncle Sidney's pancake mix.
Uncle Sidney's pancake. I love it. That's really good. You ought to brand that. If they can make porter, huckleberry, whiskey, they can make Sidney Rigdon pancakes for sure.
It may also have to do with the background. I'm not sure. Oh, it's same background here, but I'm not thinking pancakes.
Who's this guy, RFM? I want to give a few seconds. See if anybody's got a good guess of who this is. Uncle Sidney's Flapjacks.
I'm not sure. Hey, I like that. The Flapjacks. Is he an apostle?
Oh, look at you, Mr. Dan Vogel.
Oh, he is such a show off.
William McClellan. Look at that.
Good job, Dan. That's William E. McClellan.
William E. McClellan, who was present when David Whitmer was given some sort of blessing and promised that he would be the leader of the church if Joseph Smith fell out of the way.
If Joseph Smith did not live to the Lord.
Yes. So there you go.
That was the expression.
This is, we have, again, it's hard for me because all my time in the church as a believer, Simon's Ryder and Thomas Marsh and William McClellan, we have these stories about who they are, but those stories are completely defined by the insiders to the system. It's just like how do believing Scientologists perceive Leah Remini, for instance?
Bad.
Right. And so William McClellan almost certainly is not what Mormons have labeled him. Almost certainly he's way more of a truth teller than he gets credit for.
Yeah, in the Mormon history, if you stay, you're the hero. If you leave, you're the villain.
Yeah.
And then you get outside the church and things sort of swap.
We all know this guy, Brigham Young. And that face, some of his pictures, I had it do this with two of his photos because he looks very different in two of his photos. But here's this photo, and it's a dead ringer. But there's Brigham Young. And let's be honest, William McClellan or Brigham Young, which one could have been convicted a dozen times and gone to prison if he was in the right place at the right time? It's this guy on the screen, but right, we say this guy's the good guy. He's the prophet, seer, and revelator. And this guy is a dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Yeah, well, Brigham Young is still a good guy now that we found out that he actually never taught the Adam God theory.
That's right.
So he's still a good guy.
There you go. So there's Brigham Young. We all know
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Who is that? Who?
I got to imagine everyone will know who this is. So I'll just skip ahead. Buffalo Bill. Somebody guessed Buffalo Bill. No, that's Wilford Woodruff, folks.
I like the little Shirley Temple thing he's doing with his hair there.
Yeah, and I thought, man, those eyes. Ooh.
I know. He could see into eternity with those eyes.
Yeah, you look at the photo, though, and his eyes are...
I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just stop looking at me.
Wilford Woodruff.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. Not very many guesses you can make in early Mormonism about who this is. In fact, pretty much you have one guess.
JMJ.
Yeah.
That is really nice. And by that, I mean how it makes her look so immediate and right there.
Yeah. They make her head seems a little taller in this AI rendition. But then I look over at the original photo and it's possible maybe it's a little more scrunched than it should be. I don't know. But the facial expressions, the facial features all seem dead on. That right there is Jane Elizabeth Manning James. How about this guy?
Lyman Johnson? No. I've seen that one before, actually. I haven't seen all these, but you showed me Lyman Johnson. This isn't Lyman Johnson.
No, I showed you Lyman at the beginning, but this is
Luke?
No, but this is a connection to that. This is John Johnson.
That's Jan Janssen? Oh my gosh. Thank goodness for AI is what he's thinking.
Yeah, it helped him out. His face looked like he'd been in too many fistfights at the local tavern, and the AI rendition sort of straightened some of that out for him. So
he was duking it out with Joseph Smith Sr. down at the local saloon.
Yeah. By the way, folks, if you're enjoying this, let me know. If you're not, if everybody posts like this is getting boring and old, I'll go away with these and we can move on to the next segment. But if these are interesting, I would love to know if this was fun for you to see these. So do leave your comments there in the live chat. I'd love to read those. So please. And this is Elsa Johnson. That's the lady got her arm raised. And the same thing, by the way, she looks like she's got a little bit of a droopy face, maybe a stroke or something later in life. But I think they did capture the facial features and made her look maybe a little healthier. But there's Elsa Johnson. This is who Joseph heals her. She has a lame arm. She can't hang the laundry out. She can't raise her arm above sort of equal with her shoulder. And Joseph gives her a blessing and she's able to do it. Now, I'd read somewhere, Dan, I'd love to know, Dan, if you know this, but I'd read somewhere, I think, that Elsa's arm went lame again at some point later in life. In other words, the miracle didn't last forever. But
you gotta enjoy those miracles while you can, Bill.
Yeah, but it is interesting that the reason we know this miracle happened is that it's not Mormons who are testifying of her arm being raised. It's the local Quakers who testify that they see the Mormons give Elsa Johnson a blessing and she had a lame arm and her arm wasn't lame after the blessing. So that's a pretty cool story, I think.
It is a cool story. I thought maybe this was Judi Dench.
Okay, I don't know who Judi Dench is, but there she is. How about this guy? Now, this guy, I'm a little.
I think he was a church president.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in AI though, because the actual main characteristic that sets this guy apart from other guys with big long white beards, it didn't get it right. And so, yes, this is Lorenzo Snow, by the way. Good job, Cheryl, again.
The snowy white beard.
Yeah, Lorenzo Snow always struck me as having a pitchfork beard. And you can see it in the photo where it's kind of jagged up and down, up and down, up and down. And the AI rendition gave him a rounded beard. And because of that, I think that's the one characteristic that makes him not look like him. So there's that.
Well, not everybody can grow a great beard like Brigham.
Yeah, so no, they can't. And I think people, as they start seeing these, there's a run of church presidents, but can you name which church president that is? And
I feel a sudden urge to throw baseballs against a barn.
Yeah, or perfect your handwriting, right?
Yeah.
This is good old Heber J. Grant. So I thought it did a really good job of making his face.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Another in the long line of the Smith dynasty.
Yeah. Some guy, somebody said, Joey Castro said some guy.
It's some guy.
Some young guy.
Like Eldon Watson, some guy.
Somebody
said guy.
Smith the third. This is not Joseph Smith the third.
No, but his last name might be Smith. I think it's George B. Smith is what it is.
Phil Clegg and Dan Vogel and Brownie.
It's Spencer W. Smith.
It is not, but you are right. I think you know who it is. It is George Albert Smith. So there's George Albert Smith. And it's interesting, the black and white photos, the way they're shadowed, sort of draws you to think about their face a certain way that maybe isn't quite the way it really is. That makes sense. And so it was interesting when AI took this. By the way, when I gave AI Jane Manning James and another person you'll see here shortly, it got the color, I think, really, really right when it could have not gotten it right. But anyway, I think it does a really good job of sort of picking out the shading and figuring out sort of what that means for the facial features. And so George Albert Smith there, I think a little different than the photo. I don't think I could have picked him out and named him off the image on the right. I definitely could name him off the image on the left, mainly because the black and white photo just does something different with sort of your brain picking up where the cheekbone is and picking up where things are happening.
For me, it's the Coke bottle bottom glasses he always wore.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wait a second. I think I know this fellow.
Yeah.
That's nice. He has a smile.
Yeah. He does in the
very warm.
Anyone else know who this is? This should also be an easy one. You got about 3 choices on this one. Yep. Dan Vogel's got it. It's Elijah Abel. I thought that was really cool.
He has a smile in the original too, but I think it's warmer in the recreation.
Yeah.
That's such a good picture.
Yeah. Sort of mirror images of each other.
That's what my hair would look like if I grew it out.
Yeah. So there's Elijah Abel, everybody. Sort of makes that a much more personable. That's an easy one.
White suit.
I think everybody should know this one. This is David O. McKay. I thought it did a great job with carrying his face over. And by the way, did you experience David O? You didn't, did you?
No, I did not experience David O. McKay. Thank you very much.
When did he die? 67, 68?
January of 1970, I believe.
Yeah, and you didn't join the church until 78.
No, but he does kind of remind me of Sam Young.
He does. Yeah.
In a white suit.
Yep.
We have so many owlish looking presidents in the LDS church.
Yeah. So this one here, yep. Cheryl Bruno is like 10 for 10 tonight. It is John Taylor. It's another.
There's John Taylor looking very nice. I think I know who this is. I think she wrote a book, and I think Brigham Young didn't like her book very much.
No, it was a tissue of lies. It was.
Yes, it was. And we know what tissue is good for.
Yeah. I'll just note, again, we don't have much to go off of, by the way. There aren't any photos of Lucy Mack Smith. What we have are sketches, and this is the sketch. So this is Lucy Mack Smith. So good job to those in the chat who are guessing it. But based on the way AI did that could be a man under there. It's sort of a masculine face, Lucy Mack. I can see where the Smith boys got their strong jawbone.
You know something that's funny? When you take the hair off a girl, I'm sorry. I mean visually. I don't mean okay. I just mean if you imagine a girl without the hair, right? A lot of times they look more masculine.
Get over here, bitch.
I'm not going to survive tonight, I can tell.
It's Mormonism After Dark. The rules are different here. There's a little bit of comedy here, so folks, hopefully they'll give us some more allowances.
And that's all I'm saying is if you took this picture, instead of having the cap on, it had a head of hair, then all of a sudden, I think she would look more feminine.
Yeah, and if you give long hair, I mean, they've done this where they take like NFL quarterbacks and put long blonde hair on them, and they look kind of hot, you know?
And general authorities.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes. I'll try to find, maybe if you do a Google search for that and share that on
Elder Oaks was
hilarious.
Smoking.
Yes, he was. I remember D-Todd. There's some hotties in the Quorum of the 12. All right. So folks, when you were guessing George Albert Smith, some of you folks thought this was that guy. So we'll see if folks name this one pretty quick. Somebody's saying Joseph Smith Sr.
Oh, hang on a second here. I'm not even looking. Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah. So Dan, you're right, I think, but you'd have to be more specific than that because that could be two guesses. So I need to know which JFS we're talking about.
Yes.
Because,
Which one?
Because this one is the 6th president of the church, Joseph F. Smith, who also has a bit of that jagged kind of beard, though not quite as distinguished as Lorenzo Snow's. All right, here we go. This one I don't think anybody's going to guess.
I'm not finding it. So you think nobody's going to guess this one? Let me see here.
Looks like a young Brigham Young, but it's not.
Oh, I know who that is, so I won't guess.
Yeah.
I'm not finding that thing.
You guys can be this one's more difficult too, because the image we have of this person,
It's so bad.
If he really looks like the sketch of him, that's a sketchy sketch. So somebody's saying Oliver. This is not Oliver. This is Luke Johnson. This is like somebody from the Addams Family. I don't know what
You rang. Hello, Mary.
So this is Luke Johnson.
Yes. This looks like one of those on the left.
Yeah.
This picture reminds me of one of those classic pictures, those paintings that somebody accidentally smudges with cleaning oil and then is trying to make it better by applying more cleaning oil or something like that.
Yeah, stop. The cleaning oil is not working.
Right.
So there's Luke Johnson. If AI is permitted to guess what he looked like based on this horrific sketch. Who's this person?
I think I know.
Yeah.
Looks like she's about to be called to the operating room. Nurse Emma to the operating room. Excuse me. There she is.
So, yep, that's the image on the left that we have, photograph of her in older age. I asked it to make her sometime around the death of Joseph Smith.
Well, she should have a big smile on her face, shouldn't she?
Maybe not. So there's her. But I also asked it to make her when she was 22
and riding behind a black horse up a hill.
I asked it to try to figure out what she would have looked like when she was 22 years old.
Oh, this looks like a toady. I think this is a toady. I think this is Brigham's toady.
Yeah. This guy's always in the thick of things. This isn't the guy who's in the thick of things. That guy's next, but this guy's in the thick of things.
I might be wrong on this one. I'll have to wait until I find out who it is.
Dan Vogel is correct.
It's the toady.
Orson Hyde. So good job, Dan.
Yes, and he went and dedicated the Holy Land for the return of the Jews in 1840, I believe.
Meanwhile, Joseph Smith is trying to bang his wife while he's out there in Jerusalem.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
Meow. All right. This is old Crazy Eyes.
Oh, is he the one? Oh, okay. He was like Porter Rockwell's best friend.
Yeah, this is one of the Danites. We'll give people a second and see if they can guess this. They get the eyes wrong. You'll see it. Once you see this guy's eyes, you know this guy's trouble.
I think he liked to drink beer. That's the hint.
So this is Hosea Stout.
Stout beer.
Ooh, those eyes. This is a guy, again, he's everywhere where someone dies or is poisoned or is murdered. He's always nearby. And anytime a miracle happens, he's always one of the first ones to say, yep, I was there. I saw that thing, whether he's in town or not.
This is the guy that William Clayton went to Brigham Young in 1847 at Winter's Quarters and said, please let me go. Let me go. Let me go. He says, Brigham says, why? He says, because Hosea Stout's going to kill me. Okay, go.
Yes. And if Samuel Smith is in fact poisoned, you sharing in the apostolic coup d'etat episodes, it was Hosea Stout who would have been the poisoner.
Look at that picture on the left. Would he poison somebody?
Yeah,
Not the face of a man who would take another man's life.
Yep, good old Crazy Eyes. So if you ever hear me say Crazy Eyes in the show, I'm talking about Hosea Stout.
This is like in, what was it? Welcome Back, Kotter, when Kotter's talking about Juan Epstein and saying he was voted most likely to take a life. Aha, here's the dissolute one. And I may have gotten that a bit wrong, but the line's essentially correct.
This is a man who at one time in his life assured people that his genitalia was a certain size, and after a few drinks in the tavern, everyone called him on the task, put the bets on the table, and he proved them wrong. He demonstrated what needed to be done. This was Joseph Smith Sr.
It actually touched the mirror behind the bar. That was the bet.
Yeah, by the way, that's such a great story. Folks, it's a true story. Joseph Smith Sr. I shouldn't say that.
It's a true story, Mr. Real.
Let me say it differently.
Okay.
It is a truly reported story.
Somebody really said this.
In the documentary History of the Church. I'm not making it up. There is a real story in the early history of the church by those who knew the Smith family in Palmyra that one night Joseph Smith Sr. in the bar had a few drinks and they started shooting the shit. And he said, guys, my penis is 10 inches long. And they said, oh, come on, Smith. No way. You know, it was like Cardinellis going, dude. And Smith said, no, I'll bet you right now. And they threw the money down and got a measuring stick out for him. And anyway, it happened. So there's that. Lorenzo, here's Dan Vogel.
The night Joseph was coming home from the hill with the gold plates.
Yeah,
everybody knows.
Dan Vogel can vouch for this. Lorenzo Sanders told the story in my early Mormon documents, volume 2. So
very good.
You
weren't making it up.
No,
it's the part about it being in the church history.
It is in the church history. It's a real thing. So there's Joseph Smith Sr., that alcoholic. Couldn't even build his own house. And then probably, and let's see here. I think I've got just a blank one. And that tells me that we're going to go to something else here for just a second. And then really quickly, I'm going to show some of the plural wives of Joseph Smith, just a handful of them, and then we'll move on. So Thrive is coming to St. George. We've mentioned it a bunch.
Yay.
Go on to Google or Bing or whatever, Yahoo, wherever you do your web engine searches, and just type in Thrive St. George 2026. Find the website, register, and tickets are only $45, and somewhere around 450 of the 700 tickets available have been sold. So space is closing down, but we got another 2 months here, and we'll be at Thrive, RFMI, and a bunch of other cool people. So folks, do get your tickets. We do have a celebration cruise coming up in next September. It's a long ways away, but our travel agent told RFM Rebecca and I today that she's having a really hard time getting the last few people their cabin, that the cruise is getting to the point where it's going to be difficult based on what kind of cabin you want. We have 93 cabins sold, and 3 other people were committed and needed to get her the deposit. So we think we have 96 cabins sold. We're hoping to break 100. We thought we would have difficulty getting to 25, and we are on the verge of breaking 100 cabins for this thing. So
wow.
By the way, somebody thinks we are funny. Brownie says you guys are killing me.
Yeah. Brownie, very well developed sense of humor on Brownie, I've got to say. You know, we could have enough people to stage a mutiny.
We could take over. I am the captain now. All right. So, and then just one other thing. I know this gets old, but I don't like plugging myself, but awakenandthrive.org. Folks, if you're on the front end of the dark night of the soul, if you're experiencing what Lyman Johnson was talking about and you need help, please go to awakenandthrive.org. We've got support groups and one-on-one coaching for people. I am a certified somatic trauma-informed coach. Teresa, my partner, also is as well. And we both handle it from different angles. And so if you do need some help, we'd love to be a resource for you. So anyway, there's that. Okay. Do you know who this one is?
I think so.
You were going to say something. You made a body motion. What were you going to say?
That she looked like somebody, and then I thought, no, that's not that somebody. That's this somebody.
Yeah.
Well, she looks like she just fell down a flight of stairs.
She does. But yeah, and there are rumors that some women did fall down the Joseph Smith family stairs. But Dan's right. This is Eliza R. Snow, Eliza Roxy. Oh, yeah, Roxy.
Roxy.
Yeah, so there she is. And you can see that's really her face.
Mm-hmm.
I had it. There's an image of her really much older. So there's also Eliza R. Snow, a much older photograph. And then here on out, I don't have you guessing because it'll be near impossible to guess. But this is Zina Deantha Huntington Jacobs. This is the chick that Joseph Smith stole from Henry Jacobs. He manipulated Zina to break off sort of her marriage with Henry Jacobs and be a plural wife of his. And then when he died, instead of going back to Henry exactly, I believe she became a wife of Brigham Young. So Zina Deantha Huntington Jacobs.
Is this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burnt the topless towers of Ilium?
Yeah. And I also asked it to make her the age that she was when Joseph took her as a bride. And I don't have that in front of me, actually, but let me see if I can find it really quick, just so I can tell people.
She was younger than the picture on the right?
Age 20. So on the right is her AI taking her age down to 20. So again, Joseph Smith is a 30-something-year-old man approaching a bunch of girls and barely adult women, or at least past 18 or older. And so there's her at 20. I don't know. I feel like the photograph here. Let me see how I want to say this. I think it made her a much prettier woman than she was. No offense. I don't mean anything negative. This is Eliza Maria Partridge. This is one of the Partridge sisters.
Oh.
But I don't know that. And so when I see these old black and white photos, there's a part of me that looks at that photo and goes like, that's not an attractive person to me. And I mean, no offense. It's just attraction is attraction. I look at that and I go, that's not an attractive person to me. But then when AI takes that image and cleans it up and tries to make it look like the person that's in that photo, that is a beautiful person. And I don't know how much of that is what, but it seems like it's got the lips right. It seems like it's got the nose right. I often wonder if just the old photography technology just doesn't do justice by people.
Well, I think we would all agree to that.
Yeah. So there's that. And then there's her, I got to remember how old Eliza was, but let me see if I can find it here really quick.
Was she 16?
I think she might have been 18. Let me see. 22. Sorry, she was the older sister. Okay. Emily Dow Partridge was 19. So Eliza was 22. So there's what AI said she would have looked like at 22 years old. Do you know who this one is, RFM?
Is that her sister?
It is. It's Eliza. No, I still have Eliza on there. I don't know why that says that. Oh, maybe no. This is the same person. So this is a secondary photo. This is what this is. So if I go back,
okay,
this is one photo of her, and here's another photo of her. And I don't know which one's older or younger, but then you can see this face is a lot different than that face. I don't know, but also they're similar too. I can see some of the same characteristic in them. So I don't know what to make of that, because one head looks much longer and one head looks much more short and round.
One looks almost shrunken.
But that is what it does look a little bit like, a shrunken head. But that is what AI.
No, I'm going to get the hate mail. I'm giving you cover, Bill.
That's okay. That's good. Okay, so there's that. Okay.
The sister's right there, right? Or is that the same person again? Same person.
This is still Eliza. Yeah, these are a couple of different renditions of her. This one on the left was aged based on this photo on the left, and that one on the right was based on this one on the left. So there's those. See, here's another one of them. I see that picture on the left, and that's a very unique looking face. But then when AI says, what that would have looked like, it says it would have looked like the person on the right. And again, very, beautiful person. I got to the end of this and I started to wonder either one of two things. Either AI prefers to make people prettier than they might have been, or Joseph Smith singled out the most attractive women among the community, but also took a few 50 and 60-year-olds to sort of not look completely guilty in doing so.
Is that Lucinda?
This is Sylvia Porter Lyon.
Sylvia Porter Lyon.
Yeah. How about this next one?
I'm just going to say Lucinda on all of them and hope eventually you get to her.
Yeah, I'm going to get past these. So that's her when she was the age that she would have married Joseph Smith. How about this person? You should know this one.
Hello, Mary? No?
Mary Whitmer? No, this is not Mary Whitmer.
No.
But this is Mary Elizabeth Rawlings Lightner.
Oh, wow. She at the cornfields and saving the original manuscripts of, or at least the original printings of the Book of Commandments in 1833, Jackson County.
Mary Elizabeth Rawlings Lightner. And there's her age to 12 years old when Joseph Smith would have approached. Now, that looks a little older than 12 to me.
Yeah.
But that's what AI came up with. She's 12 years old when Joseph Smith approaches a 12-year-old girl, has a private conversation with her where he tells her, "You're going to be a future plural wife of mine." Right. And we know this because she tells us, Mary Elizabeth Rawlings Lightner says, Joseph approached me when I was 12. Even if I'm a prophet, even if I'm commanded to do polygamy, even if I'm told by God that 12-year-old someday will be 27 and I will marry her, I'm not going to tell a 12-year-old child she is my future spouse. That is what someone who abuses children, that's the kind of thing they do.
Well, he's putting his mark on her to make sure that she doesn't forget the fact that she's promised to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's the picture made a little smaller.
Lucinda? Hang on. This does look familiar, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember.
Sarah Ann Whitney.
Oh, wow. She with the brother Horace.
Yeah. Sarah Ann Whitney. I didn't have her aged down, so I don't know what that would be. Maybe I do. Maybe I do have it on the next one. Maybe I do. Well, there it is. And it
She's
actually
the one who married Joseph Kingsbury after she married Joseph Smith in a mock public ceremony, so people would understand why she's off the market when actually it's because she was married to Joseph Smith. And in exchange for that favor, what was it that Joseph gave to Kingsbury? Was it a promise of eternal life with his deceased wife?
That sounds right. I think you're right, RFM. I asked it to age her down to the age where when she married Joseph Smith. Again, I can go look it up here. I got it on a separate window, but I think it did a pretty good job. I sat here for a while and kind of look at the face left and right. And, if you just take off the aging and put her back at her youth, I think that's a pretty good rendition. So there is Sarah Ann Whitney. Do you know who this one is?
This is a different person.
This is a different person. This one was several months shy of her 15th birthday.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. If we had Lindsay Hansen Park here.
Yeah, she might know these.
She'd get them all.
She spent a lot of time delving into the lives of each and every one of these. You can find that on the podcast Year of Polygamy, folks. If you're new to Mormon history and podcasts that are opening you up to trying to tell the truth, and you finally are exploring Mormonism at its depth, you will not want to miss Year of Polygamy podcast with Lindsay Hansen Park. So this is Helen Mar Kimball. This is her age to age 14, or several months shy of her 15th birthday. I will say the one on the left was this was done by like Jonathan Streeter or somebody else several years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago at this point, and Jonathan has access to sort of the forefront of AI technology. He's been able to do things with it long before the rest of us had access to do some of those things. And if it was Jonathan Streeter, by the way, these are the two, the image on the right is the one I made. The one on the left is the earlier one. I do see similarities there. I mean, I don't, the reddish hair and the freckles I don't see, but sort of the lips and the face, and there are some similarities there. So Helen Mar Kimball.
One of the things I really appreciate about these photographs is it helps impress upon me that these are not just names in a book.
Yeah. And when you see an adult version of a child that Joseph Smith approached, there's a part of your brain that kind of can dismiss it a little bit. Not the unhealthiness of what Joseph did, but when you see the photo, it just doesn't hit as hard. When these images are converted into children, then all of a sudden you go like, yeah, that guy was just gross. And in the picture, the depiction helps. There's another picture of Helen Mar Kimball. So there's that. This is a famous one in terms of, I remember this photo. It sticks out. I've seen it numerous times. I couldn't have named her, but I've seen this photo so many times as one of the plural wives of Joseph Smith. And this is one where Joseph marries this lady when she's 58 years old.
So the one on the left is the original. The one on the right is the revised one. It looks like AI has created a picture of Dives wearing glasses, a mustache, and that cap.
This is the fake Bill reel here on the right. Burke Sorensen,
Dives right there.
There
I think AI is having a joke at our expense.
Yeah, it gave her kind of a mustache on the right. Now I know she's lost her teeth, and so there's a lot of shadow shading. And I get it. Some people, when some of us age, we do start growing hair in places that we didn't when we
mistook the shading for hair, didn't it?
It might have. I don't know. Maybe not too. I mean, it's also possible that she's got a mustache at this point too. So I don't know. But I thought interesting. But she was married to Joe Smith when she was 58. This is a much older photo. So I asked it to make her 58 years old.
By the way, it's not Dives after all. Who was it?
Rhoda Richards. Rhoda Richards.
Are people getting this in the live chat, by the way?
Yeah. Guess who got it? Cheryl Bruno. Rhoda Richards.
Oh my gosh.
So good
Did
job.
Dan get it too?
Don't think Dan got it.
Dan has gone off to bed.
He may have. He's in Ohio. He's 2 hours past us. I'll just note, AI found, made a lot of these women, when it made them younger, it made them very attractive. And I wonder if they really were. I said this before, but there's these quotes that also sort of impose this. Heber C. Kimball tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Cordelia, are you going to deprive the prophet of his desire that you be his wife?" At that, Walter Cox said, "You may be sealed to the prophet for eternity, and I'll marry you for time." I mean, not only is Joseph getting sort of first dibs on people, but then other people are sort of rushing in to be the backup for either the time sealing or the time only, or I'll have you after Joseph dies. And so I just think these gross old men, Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, on down, they're just picking the most attractive women in the community and making sure that they've got them all to themselves.
This is a surprise to me. I didn't know that Wally Cox was a Mormon.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where this quote came from, because I thought the whole thing was from Heber C. Kimball. So I don't know.
If it tapped me on the shoulder and said Cordelia, it would seem to be Cordelia writing it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get this?
I think, let me see if I can find this. Cordelia. Yes, here it is. So this is under Cordelia Callista Morley. This is also believed to be a plural wife of Joseph Smith, but this one has very little evidence. After Joseph Smith's death, I was visited by some of his most intimate friends who knew of his request and explained to me this religion, counseling me to accept his wishes, for he now was gone and could do no more for himself. I accepted Joseph Smith's desire. In 27 January 1846, I was married to your father in the Nauvoo temple. While still kneeling at the altar, my hand clasped in his and ready to become his third plural wife. Heber C. Kimball tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Cordelia, are you going to deprive the prophet of his desire that you be his wife?" So this wasn't one that Joseph married during his lifetime. This is one that Joseph made his wishes known about marrying. And when Joseph died, church leaders took care of having her sealed to the prophet Joseph Smith. So said, Cordelia, are you going to deprive the prophet of his desire that you be his wife? At that, Walter Cox said, you may be sealed to the prophet for eternity, and I'll marry you for time.
So was Walter Cox the man she was marrying then?
Walter was proxy for Joseph Smith, and I was sealed to him for eternity and to Walter for time. I'm going to just go see if I can find another.
It's maybe Walter's son or daughter that she's addressing.
Yeah, I have no idea. It doesn't say who Walter is in the context of this quote. She goes, one time when Cordelia told this story to her granddaughter, Mary Verona Cox, she said, Verona.
Cox, see?
Yeah.
That's her father.
Yep. Verona, in eternity, I want the man that was the father of my children and was a good husband and father. I lived with him and loved him. So she doesn't want to be with Joseph Smith, but too bad. You were sealed for all time and eternity to the prophet Joseph Smith, and time only to Walter Cox. So there's that.
Those are the breaks.
All right. I think that's all I've got there.
Yes.
This maxed out at slide 100, so I will have to do it from my secondary monitor. I do have one more, by the way. Let me just put this up.
Okay.
Who is this young fellow?
That's color.
Who is this?
Is that the original? That's got color in it already, if that's the original.
Yeah, this is the original. I didn't do anything with this. Who is this guy? Who's
I
this
have no
kid?
idea.
Is this a young Radio Free Mormon?
Well, it's what I've been told.
Okay, well, this, folks, is a really young Radio Free Mormon. You can see it, by the way. When I saw your face on this, when I looked at this about an hour ago,
Yeah.
I looked at that face and I thought, yep, that's him. That's RFM.
Mm-hmm.
I decided
ready to go on the roundup.
I decided to ask AI if it would age this kid to your age and see if it would get close to you.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what it came up with. So it's got the same hairdo. I didn't tell it to give this guy the same mustache and beard. Face is a little different for sure, but I think it did a moderately good job of you.
Predicting what I look like. Is that what you're trying to say, Bill?
Yeah, I think it did a moderately good job. It definitely knew what kind of future hairdo you were going to have on your face. So
he's got a hat covering all of his hair. I don't know. That guy, he looks better than me, I think. But the problem is I think he looks like he likes country music.
Yeah, I don't think he looks better than you, but I do think they nailed the face beard. So that was kind of cool.
It's amazing, isn't it? Oh my gosh. So this is the next slide.
This is it. We go into this segment here. And by the way,
in the Kevin Pollak mode.
Yep. I'll just put the link in the chat. You can come into the show and make comments if you want, but we're going to go into our next segment here and talk a little bit about the Kevin Pollak lookalike.
Because crazy stuff has been happening. Now, as a recap, 1 week ago tonight, we were talking about this BYU professor whose name is Christopher Smythe. He goes by Chris Smythe. And we talked about how he went on Psych Ward Radio to let the boys know that they were kind of wrong about the whole Adam God thing and how they were saying Brigham Young didn't teach it. And he's going on, they're saying, yeah, well, he kind of did. So we talked about him there. And then I heard, apparently, I've never heard of this guy before a week ago, but apparently I know people who know him. And one of them, who is a scholar, said that he loves this guy. Oh, hang on a second here. I'll do the lead up to that one. I can't even move it anymore. Only you? Okay. So
you can, but it'll take me a minute.
So I've heard from one guy in the scholarly community who really thinks highly of Chris Blythe. And then there's another guy in the scholarly community I've heard who thinks he stinks. Well, maybe two people in that category when I stop and think about it. Oh my gosh. But so he's showing up now on these channels. He's a BYU professor of something. I'm not sure what it is, but it must be of something. And he's sporting this hat. And I had no idea about him, but I've been finding out all sorts of things about him in the last 6 hours by talking to various people, doing a little bit of research. And what ends up happening is that, oh, yeah, that's right. You said Kevin Pollak. Oh, is this last week's? This isn't last week's. Yes.
Sorry. I'm in the middle. What I had to do is because when you in StreamYard, you can only have a slideshow that's 100 slides long.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm in the middle of trying to add the slideshow back in.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, you want me to bring DG on?
Yeah, by all means, feel free.
DG.
Yes.
How you doing, Sam? Sam
Doing
the
good.
Butcher. That's what they call him at the FBI.
Well, yeah. It's good to be the butcher, especially when you're Texas Tech. Anyway.
I should have anticipated this victory lap on your part. Well, get it over with.
Yeah, go Tech.
What happened?
We'll play the Orange Bowl. Whoever wins the games tomorrow, I guess. But I wanted to just quickly. I think it was on the Mormon newscast, not this week, but last week. Y'all were talking about
DG.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, and I want to get to that, can you
Sure.
just explain to the audience, for people who are watching this in the future or don't follow college football, why it is that you're so festive?
Well, the hat for Christmas, of course, but Texas Tech defeated BYU twice to win the Big 12 Conference Championship a few weeks ago, and we're headed to the Orange Bowl. So,
Wow.
anyway,
That's amazing. Who are you going to play in the Orange Bowl tomorrow?
we're hoping maybe Oregon. I think
You don't know who's showing up?
If Oregon wins, and who is Oregon playing? James Madison, I think, JMU. So whoever wins the JMU Oregon game tomorrow, we will play January 1st in the Orange Bowl. So,
Oh, that will be fun.
yeah,
Okay, now I'm sorry. Now go ahead, please, with what you're talking about.
that's okay. Glad to be on. Thanks for having me. I think it was last week's newscast. Y'all were talking about this Utah couple who neglected their infant,
Yes.
and the infant
Neglected
died.
the kid to death.
And I thought I've heard this before. In fact, the church taught me this. It was an old film from the 1960s called Cipher in the Snow. Do y'all remember this?
Yeah, it was made by the church.
Yeah. And that was the whole point of that film. It wasn't a toddler. It was a youth, I think.
Yeah, somebody who rode the school bus, I think.
Yeah. And he walks off the school bus and just drops dead in the snow, the cipher in the snow. And the whole moral was, people need to have love and be cared for. And if you neglect them, they just die. And the whole time y'all were talking about that horrible story in Utah with that couple and their infant dying, I was just thinking, man, I don't know why Cipher in the Snow is coming to me, but the church warned me about this exact thing back in the 60s. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, thank you, DJ. I'm glad you threw it out there. It's good to see you. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Good to
Are
be
you going to be with us? Hopefully attending or watching the Christmas Eve show?
So my question is, are y'all doing after dark next week, or is that the Christmas special?
Christmas special is Wednesday. It's Christmas Eve. It's always Christmas Eve in the 3 years that we've had it.
Right.
So, but this year, Wednesday happens to fall on Christmas Eve, and therefore it is the Mormonism live show time slot.
Okay, but will y'all be doing Mormonism After Dark next Friday? I guess.
What do you say, Bill? What do you think?
I'll be available if we want to do it.
Asking for a friend.
Wherever there's cops beating up a guy, I'll be there.
So looks like we're going to be doing it. So Mormonism After Dark,
Okay.
the Friday after Christmas.
And will you have guests on the Christmas special? Oh, you're going to have guests on the Christmas special.
RFM will. Mhm.
Yes.
All right.
And co-hosts Bill Reel and Rebecca Biblioteca. Let it go forth from here.
Awesome. Excellent.
Rebecca's going to be joining. Were you guys just doing weird things, or was I?
I think you
Oh, it looked like you from my point of view. That's why I was wondering about me.
like one of those Japanese kung fu movies.
Yeah, thank you.
Haite irashaimase. Oh.
Technically, Chinese kung fu, Japanese karate, but why quibble?
Well, kung fu beats karate, and jujitsu beats kung fu.
But Savat beats them all.
Rock beats scissors.
Anybody remember Savat? No, nothing. Okay. I'll bet Dan Vogel knows what Savat is. I'm just betting. He's watching, probably Brent Metcalf too, but Dan Vogel's watching. Savat. No Google.
Well, thank you, DG.
Merry Christmas, everybody,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you. We'll see you on the podcast.
Sounds good.
Okay. See you there. Bye-bye. So this guy, Chris,
Blythe.
it's so funny. I almost said Chris Nemelka. This guy, Chris Smythe, he's the one on the left. Oh, thank you so much, Bill. Now I can move these. See, you said he reminded you of Kevin Pollak. I had said last week, well, he reminded me of Rob Scheider, but I didn't get the picture up. And I got the picture up now of Rob Scheider, and you can see the similarity in the headwear. The headwear has it. But here's what happened is that somebody sent this to me, and apparently, number one, Chris Smythe is a guy called Skeptic on the internet, like skeptic, but with two E's. And he has his own channel, and he did a brief thing about you and me making fun of him last week. And this is about 2 minutes long, maybe almost 3 minutes long. But Bill, I think you may have hurt his feelings when you made the weight joke, the eight-way oak J about Chris.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that other than I was trying to explain to the audience how he looks in comparison to Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he's a heavier, stockier person than Kevin.
There you go again. God damn it, Bill. I cannot take you anywhere.
And
I can dress you up, but I can't take you out. And here you're doing it again on a live show. You know he's going to be watching it. You know you're hurting this man's feelings, but there you go.
He's young enough to be his nephew. And honestly, I was going to put it at a 5.5, but to be nice, I said a 7. And here's that clip if you're ready for it.
Skeptic. Pork pie hat.
So it's no secret. I've been online a little more frequently lately. This last week, I was on Word Radio. I was on Greg Massey's show. I was on Salty Saints.
I'm kind of a big deal.
I didn't know I would be a conversation point on Mormonism After Dark. The first time they mentioned me on Mormon Discussions, they compared me to Rick and Morty.
I don't remember that.
And I thought that was kind of fun, right? It's this photo here.
That is funny.
Right. So
it does look like Morty.
This is what they said this time.
But they have this guy on here who's ends up being a professor at BYU named Christopher Blythe. If that is his real name, Professor Blythe. And he's wearing, I don't know, he's got a hat like you, but I don't think it looks as good on him as your hat does on you, Bill. And I'm not just kissing up.
He's not wearing his hat quite as nicely, but it looks okay on him.
Is there some guy that it looks like that it reminded you of?
Give me a second. It's on this one though.
Oh, it's over here. Here we go.
Kevin Pollak. He looks like a chubby nephew of Kevin Pollak. Kevin Pollak's a little more cool, but Christopher Blythe has about a 7 out of a 10 of a Kevin Pollak look.
Yeah, and I'm thinking Rob Schneider, but Kevin Pollak is probably closer.
Yeah, the copy man making copies.
And they have a professor who has contacted them, a professor from BYU with a funny hat.
These guys. When I was a youngster, girls used to compare me to Hugh Grant.
Favorably?
That was kind of nice.
I think you've touched the center of the spot,
the
Bill.
Need to always comment on people's weight. Am I the chubby nephew of this guy?
He's going to go shoot up BYU.
Fun, right? 7 out of 10 likeness, less cool. If anything in life, you don't think you're going to come to a point where these two guys are going to be commenting on how cool you are. Anyways, this is not the most fun appearance I've had on an anti-Mormon show this month.
Wow, talk about your fugue states.
If he can say he thinks he looks like Hugh Grant, I think I'm way closer.
No, he's not saying he looked like Hugh Grant. He's quoting all the girls that he used to know who said he looked like Hugh Grant. Actually, he didn't say they said he looked like, they said he compared him to Hugh Grant. And I've had a lot of girls compare me to Hugh Grant too, but not favorably.
I'm just thinking if the comparison there is to Hugh Grant, I think it's way more than fair to say a 7 out of 10 chubby nephew of Kevin Pollak.
That chubby thing, though, that really, I think that did the trick.
I'm a fat guy myself, so deal with it. I
think all those fat guys should just get together and make peace. And why don't you come on the show? You could come on the show. We're a lot of fun guys. I'm not sure about the Rick or Morty thing. That's clever, but I didn't do it. Of course, Bill says he didn't do it, but who the hell knows at this point? He could have done it and forgotten about it, right, Bill?
I don't even know that much about who Rick and Morty is. So,
oh my Lord, really?
If you didn't do it, I definitely didn't do it.
Well, you've got a treat ahead of you. That's all I can say.
I've tried 2 or 3 episodes and it's just not my kind of humor. Sometimes maybe I don't find things funny that other people do.
Some people don't like the Mary Tyler Moore show either. All right. So, we got some more though. We got more here. So we played that clip. Now, I decided to go on there and let him know that he wasn't alone, that not everybody felt that he was as chubby as you did, Bill. Because I didn't say it. I didn't say the chubby thing. You said it, Bill, and I think I got tarred with the same brush. So in the comments on his YouTube, Walter Reed says, someone had to say it. And then I pop in and said, sorry, it had to be me. So once again, I'm taking fire for you, Bill. I'm like your personal Secret Service escort. I jump in front of you to take the bullet.
Yeah, you're a little bit like Word Radio. You wear the bulletproof vest, so I don't have to.
Yes.
Nice.
Very good. And then I started doing a little more looking, and he's got a Facebook page, this Christopher Blythe. Not Smythe. That's funny. I keep confusing it with Smythe. But it's Blythe. It is Christopher Blythe. And Maxine Hank shows up and says, I find the level of rhetoric online to be truly terrifying. This is something I snapped a picture of a few hours ago. It says it was 14 hours ago, so I'm guessing last night at some point that Maxine had said this. Then Christopher Blythe comes in. It is his Facebook page and gives the rather long and somewhat blistering response to Maxine. Since you know what is actually going on, Maxine, I wish you would actually stand up for me. Yes, he says actually twice in one sentence, this BYU professor. You know that Michelle and Cheryl, Michelle Brady Stone, and Cheryl, is that Cheryl Bruno? You know that Michelle and Cheryl are fully aware of what happened. As you can imagine, my interest is being piqued as I read along. They know that I made an honest mistake, and instead they published a statement pretending I had been malicious. I guess I am alarmed. He doesn't know if he's alarmed, but he's guessing. I guess I am alarmed by people not willing to stick up for their friends in the face of such rhetoric. You have told me you privately did so, and I'm grateful for that. But since they are doing this in the open, I kind of figured you would openly put up a fight for me. Defend my honor, Maxine. Defend my honor. I feel betrayed by someone who I have put up a fight for on multiple occasions in the past. Period. End of quote from Christopher Blythe. Well, Maxine shows up to defend her honor further on. You can find this on his Facebook page if you want to read the rest of it. Christopher Blythe, Blythe. And there's stuff going on. I'm going, what on earth is going on here? What is this mistake? And then I was led to the website for the Journal of Mormon Polygamy. I was led to it by clues I was picking up as I was going along reading in the Facebook page. And Journal of Mormon Polygamy, you know, they have a journal and they have a conference that's scheduled for March, this coming March in 2026, March 20th and 21st. And I think you know about the Journal of Mormon Polygamy. I know about the Journal of Mormon Polygamy. This is a group. It's headed by Michelle Stone and Cheryl Bruno.
Apparently,
who are joining forces to put forth a journal as well as have a yearly conference.
Apparently, Fiona Givens knows about the Journal of Mormon Polygamy.
I'm not sure if she does. She seems to forget things awfully fast. I don't know. We'll have to see about that, won't we? Yes, Fiona. Oh, did you say Terrell?
No, I said Fiona, although you seem to mix the two of those up from time to time.
I do, because it's just not easy. Look, here's the thing. Can you tell them apart? Really? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So if you go to the Journal of Mormon Polygamy, you'll find on their homepage in blue, see, I circled it in yellow, response to Christopher Blythe controversy. And this is dated 2 days ago, December 17th, 2025. And I'm going, what the heck is going on? I did not know there was this controversy going on. But now that I know it, I wanted to share it with you, Bill, and anybody else who might be watching. So if you go there now and click on that, and I'm trying to find, here's a way, get us down below. Response to Christopher Blythe controversy. Can you read this first part, Bill?
Official statement. The Journal of Mormon Polygamy wishes to clarify a recent and public misrepresentation regarding one of our invited conference presenters.
Now, by the way, so everybody knows, they're never going to mention this is Fiona. So if you know it's Fiona up front, it makes it that much more entertaining.
And I'll be happy to keep reading, but I'll need to put us up over here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I cut off too big a splice, but this is what I grabbed off the screen.
It says a highly respected female scholar, aka Fiona Givens, was formally invited to present at our March 20th, 21st out of the 2026 conference as a conference board. We were deeply pleased when she accepted the invitation, an acceptance that she confirmed multiple times in writing throughout repeated communications with the journal's co-founders, Cheryl Bruno and Michelle Brady Stone.
So in other words, Cheryl and Michelle are saying we've got the receipts and the emails where she's accepted our invitation for her to speak at the upcoming conference in March.
Yep. Her acceptance was clear and made in good faith. Before publishing our list of speakers, which included her name, we sent it to her and she enthusiastically approved. Accordingly, the journal released our publicity flyer with her name included on December 16th.
So this is just 3 days ago. They distributed their publicity flyer. They've got Fiona's name, that she's going to be a presenter. And then all hell starts breaking loose, apparently.
Yeah, it finishes off within a half an hour of the initial post. BYU assistant professor Christopher J. Blythe publicly claimed that he had heard from this scholar personally that she had, quote, declined the invite, unquote, and that the journal had falsely represented her participation. Ooh.
Whoa. You want to read that again, Bill?
That's a big difference. If Cheryl and Michelle have the receipts, which I believe they do.
I've spoken to Cheryl personally, and she assures me that they do. And based upon my prior interactions with her, I have no reason to doubt that that's the case. So I have not seen them myself.
What this would then do is this would make either Fiona Givens a liar, or this would make Christopher Blythe somehow misunderstanding something. It says
he can't be a liar too.
Well, he certainly could be a liar.
Okay. As long as we're trying to come up with all the possibilities.
Yeah, he could be a liar as well. Within half an hour of the initial post, BYU assistant professor Christopher J. Blythe publicly claimed that he had heard from this scholar personally, from Givens, from Fiona, that she had, quote, declined the invite, unquote, and that the journal had falsely represented her participation.
Wow. That's quite a charge. Wouldn't you say, Mr. Real?
I would say that if the receipts exist, either Fiona or Christopher Blythe have to make a better explanation of themselves.
Yes. So there's that picture, just so we know who Fiona is. And also remind you who Terrell is.
She's the one on the left?
I think the right.
Okay. Right.
The claim, this goes on, the claim was inaccurate. In other words, Chris Blythe. This claim was inaccurate. We have since learned from multiple sources that Dr. Blythe had not communicated with Fiona Givens herself, but with her husband, Terrell, who at the time was out of the country and unaware that Fiona had accepted our invitation. Dr. Blythe impugned the conference to Terrell Givens, claiming it would be dangerous to participate. Terrell Givens, not the scholar herself. In other words, Terrell Givens, not Fiona, encouraged Dr. Blythe to circulate the claim that Fiona had declined. Now, if that's getting confusing, I'll read it again. Dr. Blythe impugned the conference to Terrell Givens, the husband, claiming it would be dangerous for Fiona to participate. Terrell Givens, the husband, not Fiona Givens, encouraged Dr. Blythe to circulate the claim that Fiona had declined. We can only assume. Did you want to say something about that, Bill?
Terrell Givens, you dirty little rascal. If this is the truth, and it certainly seems more true knowing now the context of this entire story. Gosh, you're supposed to be one of the honest people on the inside, but man, me have me doubts.
It goes on. We can only assume that as a result of this interference and pressure on Fiona, the scholar, Fiona, withdrew from the conference, sending a brief email to one of the conference organizers near midnight. So everything's green lit according to this, according to Michelle and Cheryl. Everything's green lit with Fiona until midnight, apparently of the night of the day that they released the conference with Fiona's name on it as a speaker. And then all this happens. And then near midnight, Fiona finally sends a brief email declining or withdrawing from the conference. To be clear, it says, the scholar, Fiona, enthusiastically accepted our invitation. The journal did not misrepresent her participation, and her subsequent withdrawal occurred only after external interference by apparently at least Chris Blythe, if not Chris Blythe and Terrell Givens. We are therefore correcting our conference materials to reflect her withdrawal, while also correcting the public record regarding the circumstances that led to it. This incident is not isolated. It reflects an ongoing pattern in which Professor Blythe has publicly attempted to undermine the Journal of Mormon Polygamy by mischaracterizing its academic standards, its contributors, and its professional conduct. The journal is a peer-reviewed publication with a scholarly conference, and we categorically reject efforts to discredit it through misinformation and intimidation. There's a little bit more to this, but what do you think so far, Bill?
First off, why did he reach out to Terrell Givens and not reach out to Fiona?
Because he's a Mormon.
Why did he say he talked to Fiona when in fact he talked to Terrell?
Because he's a Mormon.
And why does everybody on that side of things seem to be lying through their ass? Because they're Mormon. Yeah.
He's a busybody, isn't he?
I'll just say this, on this side of things, we are often shining a light on the cloak and dagger. We're not playing cloak and dagger. We're not being shitty people and then lying and covering up and obfuscating and hiding the facts and changing the story. These are the games that apologists play, and you're seeing it right in front of you right now.
Every night and every day now. Assuming this is true. And maybe next Friday, if Cheryl wants to come on the show and show the receipts, that would be time well spent.
And I would say there's an open invitation to Christopher Blythe to be able to stand face to face with that story and be able to present his version of the truth and to see if it holds up.
So let's do it right now. Christopher Blythe and Cheryl Bruno, you're both invited on to Mormonism After Dark a week from tonight on Friday, the 26th, right?
So we can get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and bring whatever evidence you have and have it prepared so we can put it up on the screen and show it to the audience.
And
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and Chris, if you talked to Terrell and then you told publicly that you had talked to Fiona, that's a shitty thing to do. If you and Terrell behind the scenes game planned how to manage this, that makes you a shitty human being. If you got Fiona, if you pressured Terrell to pressure Fiona to step away from this conference, that's a shitty thing of you to do. And so you add up enough shitty things just in one situation, it makes you a shitty human being. A chubby, version of Kevin Pollak, but a shitty human being nonetheless.
By the way, Bill is saying if in front of all of those statements methodically, and I don't want them to go overlooked because I'm still happy to look at the evidence and see what the heck's going on here. There appears to be a bit of a brouhaha, a brewing.
I've never heard of Christopher Blythe until this week. And I already know what kind of character he has.
Well, he hangs out with the cats on Psych Ward Radio, if that tells you anything.
And helps them not have to be as accountable as they should have been with that situation. Yeah. He gave them cover intentionally.
Yes, he did. You're right. You're right. He did. And this is the end of the announcement or notice at the Journal of Mormon Polygamy. The journal decries this kind of unprofessional behavior and interference. We call on Professor Blythe to cease misrepresenting the journal, to refrain from interfering with invited participants, and to discontinue this pattern of harassment. The Journal of Mormon Polygamy remains committed to rigorous scholarship, open inquiry, and respectful academic exchange, even and especially when perspectives differ. And that's basically signed Cheryl and Michelle, though I think mostly Cheryl.
I'll tell you this. I have my feelings about this whole polygamy stuff, and Joseph Smith didn't practice it. But I know Cheryl well enough. I know Michelle well enough, having sort of debated her and having presented evidence. I definitely don't like some of the ways in which Michelle goes about scholarship. I can't speak to Cheryl because I don't know enough about her outside of her book. And we had her on before to talk about that book, and I think the book is well done. But I don't know of any character issues with Michelle. I don't know of any character issues with Cheryl. It'd be interesting to see the receipts because that would essentially prove that at least in part their side of the story is true. Christopher Blythe, sort of a Ricky Ricardo, right? He's got some splaining to do.
Yes, and he does a little bit of it, though perhaps inadvertently, in a video that's currently accessible on his Facebook page. And what I'm going to need to ask you to do, Bill, and I apologize for this, since I didn't tell you before, if you can take that, copy and paste it, and find it on Facebook, then we'll be able to show it. So I am not sure what's going on here. This appears to be a clip of an interview or discussion that Christopher Blythe had with, what's his name? Oh, there he is, Brian Hales. So obviously the subject is polygamy and how Joseph practiced it. But shortly after the video starts, there's this incredible electrical storm that occurs outside and gets conduited through their eyeballs.
A very prominent member of the Community of Christ referred to Joseph as a liar. And so there's this version of Joseph out there that he lied about polygamy, and the anti-Mormons use that a lot. You know, they'll talk about this negative thing about Joseph, and then second to the last paragraph they'll say, and we know he lied about polygamy, and then they move on or something. This is kind of a given that everybody seems in the academic world or in the whatever world to have accepted. I disagree. Joseph was perfect by any means, and we need to get him off his pedestal.
I think it's probably enough. I know it is for me. It goes on like this for about another minute, and it just seems like an eternity. So I don't know. Either Christopher Blythe is like playing with the special effects, maybe that's what he's doing, or he is channeling some kind of superhuman power now.
So Brian Hales says that anti-Mormons claim that Joseph Smith lied about polygamy.
Wait, you were paying attention to what they were saying? I was just looking at the eyes.
Doesn't Brian Hales and the Gospel Topic essays both agree that Joseph Smith lied about polygamy?
I've got to tell you, I was paying a little bit of attention to it this time since I'd seen the eyeball thing before. And part of my brain was trying to make sense out of what he was saying, because it was kind of sounding like the opposite of what I thought Brian Hales would be saying, which is, of course, he lied when he said, I'm not practicing polygamy.
And isn't it also the opposite? Because most anti-Mormons agree that Joseph Smith practiced polygamy, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. You can never trust Brian when he's got lightning shooting out of his eyes.
Or when he doesn't.
Wow. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else going on here. There's that. And, that's for something else. So can we bring Tim on the stage and get Tim's view? Is that Tim or is that St. Nick? Is that Father Christmas?
Yes, it is.
Well, ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. All right. Christopher Blythe.
Oh,
You probably saw me call him an imbecile on Facebook.
no, I didn't. Did you call him an imbecile on Facebook?
Yeah, on the 13th when he was doing his, after I saw the clip that you played, I went and found it
on Word Radio.
on Word Radio. And I said, you're an imbecile. And he says, who are you calling me an imbecile? Who are you calling an imbecile?
All of you?
You're the, yeah. And he sends me this is in Messenger. Oh, you the guys from Word Radio. You know Jonah Barnes is an imbecile. Why are you calling Jonah Barnes or me an imbecile? Because you wrote in response to my video where I spoke about their comments on my appearance. You know Jonah Barnes. I actually don't know much about him, meaning Barnes. I've only watched the one video he did and response. Okay. I says, all apologists are liars and idiots and imbeciles, in my opinion, and intellectually dishonest. I had that later on. He says, I'm an apologist, have worked for the church, and have taught religion courses, although I'm an English professor. I'm not a liar, and between you and me, I'm probably pretty smart.
Did you say he's not a liar?
No, I'm probably pretty smart.
Yeah,
I'm not a liar, right? I'm not a liar, and between you and me, I'm probably pretty smart.
Between you and me, well, I don't know.
Okay. And I say some things.
Professor, you got to be smart to be an English professor.
And I say some things about apologists, some more things, and about stuff that I knew. And he says, I do tell the truth. Apologist just means defender. It doesn't mean liar. I said, no, it doesn't. And I said, an apologist is not a defender. They're all liars. He said, well, then you might want to use it as a pejorative in a way that I wouldn't.
So this is all on Facebook?
No, this is Messenger to me. I sent you a synopsis of it, basically.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, now you're private messaging back and forth.
Yes. I'm talking about some things that I knew. And then he says, Tim, I'm a convert to this faith. I really believe it. And I am super open and transparent. And you're just a really old guy at this point. I'm thinking your era of thinking through things might be past.
Wow.
I says, yeah, I'm 71. I worked in the archives. I know a lot of stuff, basically. He says, I've worked in the archives for 3 years. Yeah, I think you have some weird paradigms that you are probably stuck in things, and that's okay. And I went, what paradigms? Tell me, You seem to be in a state in your life when you say weird, unhinged things. You just told a stranger who literally has spent his life being completely transparent about church history and beliefs, and told him he is a liar. I would share everything you just shared with me, with the exception of the temple stuff. I know it all very well. You're going to embarrass yourself if you get into these conversations in 2025 after a 3-decade break. People aren't like they were in the 1990s.
That's back when they believed the Adam God theory wasn't taught by Brigham Young.
Exactly.
If Christopher Blythe is transparent, he'll have no problem coming on the show Friday and responding in real time to the evidence of what happened with Terrell and Fiona.
Do you think he should do that? Do you think Christopher Blythe should come on the show in a week and defend his honor?
Yes, of course. Of course he should.
Okay.
He's not a liar, and he's all he's ever done has been transparent.
Transparent. That's right.
I like that.
He's as honest as he knows how to be as well.
Well, hopefully he can show us some evidence, and we can get to the bottom of this on next week's Mormonism After Dark.
Yeah, hope so. Anyway, I just wanted to
your friend's dad in his garage.
That must be Cardin, right? Cardin.
Is that a Carbon-Alice reference?
Yeah, Carbon-Alice.
Somebody wrote that in the live chat. This has been weeks ago, and I looked at that and I thought that's funny. And I didn't know if it was voice to text or something.
Yeah.
But Carbon-Alice instead of Cardinellis cracked me up. That could be a great heavy metal band name.
Dude.
Carbon-Alice.
God.
Rock on, rock on. Oh wait, we have a little appearance.
You remember when you asked him if he remembered when he said, "I'll be back" in both Terminators?
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
You know, and
We have found the doppelganger for Carbon Alice.
He lives in a van down by the river.
It's a reincarnation.
well, thank you, Tim. Thank you for sharing that. I knew you had that conversation with him. So
Yeah, I sent both of you a synopsis of it, some of it, but
And I want to make it clear, I'm not taking sides on this. I don't know. I haven't talked to Chris Blythe.
right.
I'll probably keep the fat jokes to a minimum. Okay. But hopefully they'll come on the show. We know how to be civilized people. I'm a lawyer. You're a future pawn store manager, right, Bill?
I'm a former pawn shop manager. You got it.
We know the rules of etiquette between us.
As one chubby guy to another. Chris, don't check it out, dude. Come on the show. Let's just put it to the test. Let's be able to ask you questions in real time about how this whole fiasco with Fiona went down.
And by the way, you're going to have to bring witnesses, by which I mean Terrell and Fiona. You're going to have to bring witnesses, I think, because if the receipts that Cheryl and Michelle have actually say what they claim it says, you're going to need some really good witnesses to testify different.
Or he could just come on his own and run the Givens into the ground saying they're the ones who lied to him. I mean, he could do that, but I think it gets really tricky when you try to keep this story straight now at this point.
Yeah, especially when Fiona changes her mind, apparently on the afternoon of the release of everything we talked about. Yeah, it's all very interesting. It's a minor mystery, but you know something? This is something that, depending on who you are, it seems minor to me from this perspective. But if you're somebody who, whatever I think of the effort, okay, and I'm putting that to the side for tonight's episode, putting together a journal is a lot of work. And putting together a conference is a lot of work. And regardless of what I or anybody else thinks about this project or the conference, it's a lot of work. And it just seems like Chris Blythe is trying to blow it up. It's like the Chris Blythe gunpowder plot.
Doesn't this feel much more like Blythe reaching out to Terrell Givens and going, "Hey, you don't want Fiona to be a part of this. This is not good for her credibility in our space. And so what are you going to do about this?" And Terrell, obviously wearing the pants in the family and holding the priesthood,
As often as he can.
Gave Blythe, again, according to what it's being said to have happened, gave Blythe the instructions of how to move forward and handle it without Fiona having the conversation.
It's the old get a hold of your woman talk.
I just sent Chris a link to this video and said the gauntlet's been laid down. Are you going to be on?
I'm sure he won't, but that's not what transparent and honest people do.
That's right.
We'll see.
We'll see. Maybe we could have a battle of the Kevin Pollak hats.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
You're starting to laugh like Saint Nick. You know that, Tim? You got the job.
The closer to Christmas it gets, the better I get.
You're going to be busy. You're going to be busy on the 24th, I guarantee.
Oh, I am going to be very busy on the 24th.
Well, good. I hope you can be here for the show.
Yeah, thank you, Tim.
You mean the night? Yeah, because the next day I'm driving to see my son for Christmas, and I'll be here on Christmas. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. See you, Santa.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. See
you, Santa. Computer there, Sloan?
All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Sloan, can you turn it off? Because now I'm hearing myself from last year.
Yeah. Sloan? All right, wave at me when you've got it fixed. All right, you got it fixed.
I think he just heard wave at me.
Okay, he jumped off.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, when you come back on, hopefully that'll be working just fine. We're at 154. Oh, I hope Sloan could. Well, we can talk a little bit about tomorrow night. Yeah. This is tomorrow night's show. The show the LDS Church doesn't want you to see, RFM. It'll be 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. It's only half an hour long, so I put it a little bit later when it started. And we've we've got Sloan below, but can you go to the next one? Because people are already making comments. And here's the first comment. Have you seen this, Bill? Can you read this from Michael Parks? Michael Parks has an opinion he wants to share.
Michael Parks, 5669. I mean, that sounds like a troll, doesn't it? RFM is a nutter. Dude. Seek a good therapist.
Oh, look, Radio Free Mormon 5140 responds.
You want to read it in RFM's voice?
Looks like they're cleaning the cages at the zoo today, folks. It actually says again, but I wanted to look at the camera for effect. Looks like they're cleaning the cages at the zoo again, folks. Yeah.
Nutter.
You know, you're doing good when people are making comments over a day before the thing even airs.
Yeah, you know it's already struck a chord. By the way, tell folks what this episode is. I think this is interesting.
I tell you what, let me just tell you this, okay? We've got Sloan below, but I just want to say this about that, which is, shoot, I can't remember what I was going to say. It was something adjacent to, this is what I was going to say. What I have noticed is a distinct uptick in trolls coming by to try and insult me in the comment section of YouTube as well as Facebook. They're coming out of the woodwork now. And I think that it probably corresponds to the criticisms that I've been kind enough to give to Ward Radio, Jonah Barnes, and Jacob Hansen. It seems like these criticisms are being well received.
Yeah, I'll say this, folks, feel free to comment. As critics, feel free to comment on our material. Number one, we've got a great audience. They're super smart. They generally will step in without either one of us having to say anything, and they will lay the facts out. Number two is that you actually help the algorithm. We love it. When you put your negative comments in and give your thumbs down vote, you actually help us put our content in front of more people. So by all means, please.
I'm glad you said that on Friday night when no one's watching, because I think you just gave it all away.
Yeah, well,
you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to let them know that.
It's like they think they're pissing us off, right? They say, I'm gonna show them. And it's like, no, not really bothering me a whole lot. So, but by all means, please continue.
We know you're all Jacob and Jonah anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see your face behind the comment, but I think the filtrum's a little long.
Mm-hmm. And the one who gives messages entirely in emojis, that's Carbon Alice.
That's his second language.
I think it's his first and only. All right. So let's see about Sloan, can we?
Let's do it.
Sloan, how are you doing?
I had YouTube on in the background. I think that's what was causing the echo.
I think it's much better now. Hey,
Perfect.
Great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourselves?
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. I got my eggnog, like liqueur, I believe is what it is. It's lighter than eggnog, but tastes like it.
I just want to get a regular eggnog. What I do with eggnog is I put it in a glass, maybe, I can't drink it straight. And I'm talking about the non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Dairy Gold, the eggnog. Put it in a glass, put a little bit in there, and then put an equal amount of whole milk on top.
Mm. That didn't look like eggnog. Would you hold that up again for everybody?
Well, it's eggnog in a whiskey glass. It's lighter than eggnog. But lighter. It's not as heavy.
I usually use a taller glass for my eggnog, but to each his own.
Well, I had whiskey in it before.
That looked like the life-giving substance from the little factory.
A little bit.
Goodness.
Yeah. You gotta slow down.
Sloan, not Mr. Ed, Bill.
Understanding. So I was actually, I interacted with Jackson on some rando's Discord server.
I hope you took penicillin.
I did afterwards. But no, we talked about specifically, I got him to admit, and this is, I think, the problem why I never will come back to Mormonism, is specifically, I got him to admit that Joseph cheated on Emma in the fact that he committed polygamy or adultery behind her back, and that also would make him a liar. And so he said, based on those definitions or those terms, he is a liar and a cheater, and I would accept that, Mr. Jackson.
What does the Book of Mormon say about woe unto the liar in 2 Nephi chapter 9?
Right.
For he shall be thrust down to hell.
to hell. Thrust, not just gently placed.
And Joseph knew a lot about thrusting.
From what I hear about Fanny Alger in the barn. In the transaction.
You would too if you saw the whole transaction.
That's exactly. But I was just thinking about that, where I think the whole crux of the situation is, did he lie? And what I told him was essentially, my concern is that if he lied about that, that then leads into, did he lie about other things, such as, his first vision, which wasn't recorded until 1832, and then the one we all quoted on our missions, 1838, or all the other things that just don't seem to line up. It just kind of like, if he lied to Emma, which the church holds up as a love story for the ages.
Carefully worded denials, Sloan, not lies. Carefully worded denials.
Carefully worded denials. That's very fair, which apparently is what it's okay to use in our temple recommended interviews.
Yes.
Carefully worded denials.
Yes.
So I thought that was a great conversation that I had with Mr. Jackson on some rando's Discord server.
Now, who is this again?
Jackson Washburn, I think.
Oh, Jackson Washburn.
And he's on.
I was thinking someone else at the time. Yeah, I could see him making that admission, because you kind of have to, I think.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, so it's a good, if you haven't joined, Colby has a link to the Discord server where we chat a lot about.
Oh my Lord. If only I had time to chat in another place about Mormonism. That's
fair. That's absolutely fair.
I'm just jammed with I was talking with my daughter, one of my daughters earlier, and she said, how's life? And I said, I don't know. It's like a racing, always like a racing stream of consciousness that I myself I'm living my own stream of consciousness, because it's all about coming up with new shows and doing 4 shows a week, 3 of them live. It's a crazy experience. It's a hell of a rush, I got to tell you. What's your experience like, Bill?
You cannot take a break. The moment we get done with this one, we have to start thinking about the newscast. And once the newscast is over, Mormonism Live is 2 days later. So you better have already been thinking about Mormonism Live before Monday night show comes to an end. And Friday night is maybe the most laid back of all the shows that we do. Of course, you're doing a show on Saturday. I'm putting out some stuff with Almost Awakened, but Friday might be the most lenient of them all. And we still come to this show with a handful of things to make sure that we can get through the hour and a half covering things.
Yeah, and overlaid over all this is my Radio Free Mormon, which I've been thinking about since the week began, if not before. Yeah, because sometimes these ideas will hang around for a while. Then getting ready for it this week, then coming in this morning and recording it and editing it. I think I had the slides set up yesterday, as well as a thumbnail created yesterday, which I also tinkered with this morning, etc. And now we're doing the show after being able to talk with several people, including Cheryl, and find out all this interesting stuff about Christopher Blythe, who we do hope will join us next week on Mormonism After Dark, by the way, along with Cheryl. I don't know if I don't think Michelle can come on the show. I don't think she's allowed to go on any show and talk at all publicly about anything, even closely, even marginally related to polygamy. Sloan, yes?
I was going to say excommunication monster looming in the background, correct?
Yes, yes.
It is interesting, right? You can't talk about polygamy. You'll be excommunicated. But if you commit a filthy, dirty, nasty little scrape, you've got no issues with your membership in the church at all.
But if you have a freaking journal and an annual conference on the subject, that's okay, apparently. I don't know why, but that seems to be the rules.
Fair
stuff.
Them's the rules.
Well, thank you, Sloan. Thank you for joining the show tonight.
I love you guys. Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, and have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sloan. Thanks for phoning in. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this tomorrow night?
No, I don't, but it's going to be great. The subtitle is The King of Excommunications.
Yeah.
How you like that one?
I know what it's about, folks. You won't want to miss it. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., 6 p.m.
It'll be 7 p.m. It'll be 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Pretty sure. I mean, if you find it, it'll tell you when it's going to be going or airing in your own time zone. So whatever it says there, and if you're subscribed, then it will come to you and you'll know as well.
Yeah. You won't want to miss it. You may have missed it once. It's coming back around in a whole nother fashion. So
And a lot better. And it's very timely. It's very timely because Oaks is now president of the church. And he is in a position, although I think he was for the past year or two, he's in the supreme catbird seat to promote his own agenda.
So tune in to hear more about the ideas of Dallas Oaks.
Yes, his friends call him Dallas.
His friends do.
Well, is there anything after this? Oh, this is your. Yeah, we did that.
I've got this.
You?
We're going to cover this on the newscast on Monday, so there's no need for that. This essentially is the end of it.
Okay. Well, that's good since it's 2 hours and 5 minutes, and this is an hour show, an hour and a half tops.
Yeah, take us home, my friend.
That's my fault, everybody. Blame me. I take the bullet for everything.
It was the images at the beginning. Those took too long.
Those were great. I love that part of the show. That was the best part of the show. Don't you agree, Chris? All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please join us Monday night at 6:00 p.m. Mountain for the newscast. And if you aren't doing anything else on Christmas Eve, feel free to join us because we're going to have a fun party. And that's going to start at 6:00 p.m. Mountain Time. It may go for a couple of hours. We'll see. We've got a lot of people who are going to be joining us. You're going to be staying up with RFM and Bill and Rebecca and watching the stars come out. So I hope you're having a wonderful time this time of year. And we'll see you Monday for the newscast. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.